Hey everyone, happy Thursday, day before Good Friday, and Easter's coming up, so hopefully some of you guys have a long weekend, which is awesome. Charles just spit up all over me, so that's how we're doing here. Say hi, Charles. Say maybe we will be a little bit happier this time around, because on Tuesday I had to cut it short because someone was not very happy with me. So I was like, I gotta go. But hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're surviving. What day is it? I don't know. Carolyn, that's a great question. What day is it? Is it Thursday? I think it's Thursday. Man, I don't know. I've like, oh, hi from Seaside, Florida. Hey guys. Wow. Seaside would be really nice to have right now, to be there right now. Yeah, I feel like Winston and I were talking about the quarantine and everything, and I don't know, I feel like we're getting in like a really good groove, and there's a part of me that I'm like, I think a lot of people are gonna reflect and take things from quarantine into real life, and it's gonna be really good. Like, I know that this has been really hard health-wise, really hard financially for a lot of people, but just families in general being forced to all be together all the time. I don't know. I think that there's like some really good things that can come out of this. And for us, I know like the slowdown, the pace has been obviously so slow. And I don't have FOMO ever because no one's doing anything. And I don't know. It's just been like really, I don't know. I keep thinking of the word slow, and that may not even be the right word. Just less demanding. Maybe that's it. And you just realize kind of the rat race you were in before. And I mean, it's just like we just would go, even at night. Like we had stuff. Our kids aren't at the age of like soccer or sports stuff. You know, like a lot of people have tons of sports practices. We weren't even there, but it was still like birthday parties on the weekends. We got to meet this person here and there, and it's just wild. And so being able to have none of that, I don't know, the expectations of like everything is lowered lifestyle wise, and I don't know, it's kind of been nice. So anyways, hope y'all are doing well. Hope that you're learning things that you can take with you that are good. Okay, let's see. Do you recommend a 5/1 ARM refinance? We plan on moving before 5 years. If you are in an adjustable rate mortgage, yeah, I would get out of that and get in a fixed rate mortgage for sure. But then also make sure you look at everything associated with refinancing and how much you're going to actually save in the interest and if it's worth dealing with. But with an ARM, I definitely would go ahead and refinance no matter what to just a fixed rate mortgage. By the time this is all over, we'll have the hang of it. I know, isn't that true? How are you surviving with 3 little munchkins? We're doing pretty good. I don't know, again, I feel like we've kind of found our groove. I mean, the downside, the hardest part, honestly, is somewhat keeping them entertained and all the food they eat. I'm like, who are you people? Like, all they do is eat. All they do. In my kitchen, it's just disgusting all the time. Like, that's what it feels like. I'm like, snack. I'm like, we just got off of lunch. Like, what is happening? They just eat so much food. So I'm now empathizing with, like, especially moms that are home all the time, or they talk about in the summer how their grocery bill goes up. I get it. Totally get it. They eat so much. But other than that, like, I don't know. Again, I feel like we found our groove, and we've had great weather in Nashville, which is like, I mean, just like, look, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful and warm. And so we've like made it. Our neighbors laugh at us. They're like, way to go. But we do. We pull out our camping chairs in the driveway every night. And the girls just scooter, and Charles sits in his stroller. Don't you, Charles? And I mean, we're out there for like hours, it feels like. And it's great. And they just play and play and play. And yeah, so that's been a really great part, which I'm thankful for. My husband and I were furloughed today. So tough. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, Man, okay, so my advice to you, whatever you can do, if you can make extra income on the side for now, that's going to be really huge. And to pause all paying off debt and just pile up as much cash as possible. So I'm so sorry. Let's see, a lot of teachable moments during this time. What norm do you not want to go back to? Oh yeah, we were just kind of talking about this. I would say, I think the pace. I don't know. I kind of like want to reevaluate all the things that we do. I like the slowness. I do. I don't like being in the rat race anymore. Work hours are being cut from 80 to 50 per pay period. Okay, so if that's the case, then if you can find if you need 80-hour work weeks, if you need those 80 hours and that income to survive and to cover your four walls, food, shelter, utilities, transportation, then whatever you can do, find that 30 extra hours somewhere else if you can. But if you can make it during this time with just that 50 hour per pay period, like you're saying, to cover those things, and you don't feel like you need to replace it, then that's okay. But if you need to, see if there's a way you can replace it. I enjoy not feeling rushed. I agree. I love the slowdown. See, everyone does. We all love the slowdown. Let's just all make that the norm. Okay, so if employer lays people off and you're happy with your job, do you recommend doing something and try to get the job back once COVID is over? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the hope is that people that had to lay off, unless the business just absolutely closed and they're not able to reopen it, that during time, hopefully it's short-term layoffs, and then once everything gets back to normal, they can rehire. But definitely tell your employer, like, if there's, I want to come back on board, tell me if you think my position will still be available, because yeah, I think that there is definitely possibilities. Should we stop our 401k contribution? Depending on where you're at. So if you have debts, and if you don't have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, then yes, pause your 401k contribution and get that done. So get your debt paid off and build up a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. And then once that's finished, then contribute 15% of your income into retirement. But if you have no debt and you have an emergency fund in the bank, then yes, keep contributing. Great question. Why do you recommend couples be married for 1 year before buying a home together? A couple of things. I mean, the old joke is like to see how far you should move from your mother-in-law. So depending on like where you're moving, figure out like where's a good place for you guys as a couple. But the big part too is, marriage is a transition in and of itself, and the least amount of stress you can have in outside factors, for the most part, hopefully the smoother that first year is. And when you own a home, there's just gonna be a lot of added stress. I mean, if the water heater breaks and you gotta replace the heating and air, you gotta keep up the yard. It's just, there's a lot of responsibility on home ownership. And if you can avoid that the first year of marriage, just to enjoy you guys, rent, you're in no rush, you're okay, then do it. And we also recommend that when you buy a house, you have no debt and you have that fully funded emergency fund and 10 to 20% of a down payment. And a lot of couples we talk to, not all, but a lot, aren't there yet anyways. So they still have some debts. They don't have an emergency fund. So getting that all in place. My wife had hers cut and I'm still working, praise God. Is it okay that I stopped contributing 401k to supplement a little? Yeah, for sure. So if you've lost an income, basically all the baby steps can be on pause until you get that income coming back in. So the fact that your wife lost her job, especially if you guys were dependent upon that income, yep, you can definitely stop that 401k for sure, to pile up cash. Yeah, my advice earlier to the 401k is assuming that you still have an income coming in. But if your income stops, you can definitely pause all baby steps for sure. When do you think this is the best time to invest, and what do you suggest investing in? The best time to invest is when it's best for you. So again, that's being out of debt with a fully funded emergency fund. And then I always invest in mutual funds. So like, I never recommend doing single stocks or even like commodities. Like I don't do gold or oil or any of that. So really just growth stock mutual funds, which is 90 to 200 stock in a fund, a mutual fund. And that's it. It's lower risk because your money is spread out between all those companies versus dependent upon one company. So that's definitely what I recommend. Home to sell, should we wait on that now? Yeah, the housing market is like a big question. I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. We have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, the sooner we can all get back to normal life, the less likely the housing market is going to budge a lot, either way. There were a lot of places, Nashville was one of them, where like it was time for a market correction. It was so high. The prices were insanely high. And I'm like, okay, you can't stay like this forever. So I don't know what the market's going to do. So with home ownership, I mean, especially when it's your primary and you were going to sell and buy something else, if you're in a financial position to do it is when you need to do it. And so I don't really base it off the market a ton. It's really based off of your situation. So obviously, if you could time it right, it'd be obviously in a perfect world, you would sell high and you would buy really low, whatever, through that whole thing. But you can't predict that. And so, for your primary residence, I would just stick to when it's best for you. Let's see. Hey, Rachel, I applied for a job and they asked me why I left my last employer. How can I tell them it was a toxic environment with new management, or should I not say that at all? That's a great question. I think, honesty is the best policy, and I don't think you have to go into details. I wouldn't throw anyone specifically under the bus. But yeah, I think it would be fine to say that, oh, bud. Oh, you okay? No, he's had this kind of cough and stuffy nose. No fever though. Oof. I don't know if it's allergies. I don't know. He's still sleeping till 7, so he's doing good. Okay, sorry. So I would be honest, but I wouldn't throw specific people under the bus. There's no need for that. What are the 4 you must have? Food, transportation, shelter, and utilities. So keeping the lights on, the water running, all of that. And remember, if you've lost a job, you guys, and you're paycheck to paycheck, you have debt, and you're just in a really tight situation financially, you go to basic needs. So even cable, that's really a need. Cut the cable, do stuff, get things out of your life that you absolutely don't need right now. So when I say utilities, that's literally the water, the air, the heat, the lights. It's not all the extra frou-frou stuff that we've gotten used to having, if that makes sense. Let's see. My husband just started his transition to the airlines after COVID. Would you pause investing in our kids' 529 to fully fund the cost of the certifications? Oh my gosh. Guys, it's been a thing. Let's just say it. It'll cost about $10,000. I think you could pause for sure the kid's stuff to get his certifications, not certificates, his certifications paid for. So yes, I would pause kids' college for that. Great question. I'm on baby step 3. Should we start investing now since it's a downtime in the market? Yes. Okay, so, I want you completed with baby step 3. So if you have 3 to 6 months of expenses, go on to invest. If you're in a position to invest, you guys, do it. The market, we keep saying it, but it's true, it's on sale. I'm busier now than I was before. Oh no, I'm in computer support. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I can't see your picture, and I think you just have your last name, so I don't know if you're a guy or a girl. I was gonna say sorry girl, but you could be a dude. Some industries are just booming, right? That's what's crazy too. Let's see. During Corona times, should we do baby step 3 before baby step 2? No. Well, it depends on. Okay. So if you have your income still coming in and you're in an industry that is not going to be having layoffs, like you work for Amazon or FedEx or you're a teacher or something like that, then continue to pay off your debts. But if you are in an industry that it's questionable, or if your employer or your company has been saying things like, if this lasts for another 30 days, we're going to have to start doing layoffs. If that's the kind of stuff happening, pause baby step 2 and pile up cash for sure. Do you think the housing market will crash? I don't know. I don't think so. It might. I mean, again, I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea. That's why I always hate making predictions, and I never will on these things. So I'll look back in like 3 weeks and be like, oh, wow, I was so wrong. I think the very first ones of these we did, I was like, hopefully by like beginning of April, we'll all be back to normal life. Hey, April 9th. Definitely not there. So baby step 3, if you're not employed. Correct. If you're not employed right now, pause everything and just pile up cash. Just finished baby step 3. How do I decide if I should do baby step 3B or move on to 4 and 5? I live in San Diego and houses are crazy expensive. Yeah, I mean, I think the goal in general is going to be to own a home, like in your life in general. I think home ownership is a great thing, but obviously certain parts of the country are very expensive, like San Diego. Hey, California real estate, really expensive. So, I mean, if you're not in the mood, if you're not like in a time in your life, you're like, yeah, I want to own a home, I'm still okay renting for a few years, then move on to 4 and 5, baby steps 4 and 5. And then when you start to figure out, okay, yeah, I think I do want to own a home, like income looks good, all of that, and you can pause those for a short period of time and build up that 10 to 20% down payment. Great question. What are ways to earn extra income? We've been saying it, but it's true. Like, there's just so many industries that are like dying for people right now. So whether it's delivery services, even online things like Zoom and Skype, they're hiring. Grocery stores, Target, like all the Walmarts. I mean, there's so many places that are hiring. So if you need to, yeah, definitely go. And if you've lost your job and you're like, oh wow, I need temporary income for a short period of time, work like 2 or 3 jobs. Like, do whatever you can, because again, hopefully we'll be out of this sooner than later, but you'll be able to replace that income with maybe even a couple of jobs, which I know is not ideal, but it's just for the temporary, so remember that as well. What do you recommend for someone whose rent costs are higher than mortgage payment would be? My advice is still the same. So I want you out of debt with a fully funded emergency fund, even if a mortgage is cheaper, because you're just equating the mortgage payment at that point. You're not thinking about all of the other things that you may have to pay for in a home that make it that much more expensive. And when you rent, the landlord takes care of a lot of that stuff. So the risk is a whole lot higher when you own your own home. So I want you to be in a place where if something does happen, you have the cash to cover it. Because if you're still living paycheck to paycheck, you have tons of debt, you don't have an emergency fund, you go buy a house, that's when it all happens. It's like, oh my gosh, everything starts breaking and you're having to replace it all and it costs so much money. And you realize, oh wow, my house owns me and it's not this blessing I thought it was going to be. So and again, you're not going to rent forever, and renters don't go to hell. Everything's fine. Some people are like, you're a renter. I'm like, yes, it's fine. It's for a short period of time. I'm not telling you to do this for 20 years. For a couple years, is why you get yourself in a good position. Because I promise, when you move into a home and you put 10 to 20% down, you have no debt, and a fully funded emergency fund in the bank, it's a totally different ballgame. Totally different ballgame. I loved yesterday's live seeing you and baby Charlie. I know, you've been a little happier. He's just so big. He's getting so big. Are you doing more cooking and recipe videos? I don't know if they're on the docket right now. Everything's kind of paused, obviously, because of COVID-19. I'm still employed and want to go back to school to complete my BS degree. Is it a good time to do that? Well, obviously, I think a lot of universities are closed down at the moment. Unless there's like an online version, then yeah, you could do that. So I'm all about, furthering your education if you want to, for sure. So just making sure that you're not going into debt for it. So save up and pay for it. Let's see. I really want to get out of debt. I need to sit down with someone. I need a budget. I'm fumbling with baby step 2. It's like a no ending tunnel. Oh, I know. It can get really discouraging. So number 1, if you are single, you do need someone in your life that you can talk to about your money. I mean, if you're married, that'll be your spouse. But if you are single, for sure, find that person that you trust and someone that you are okay sharing that information with. But sit there and list out all of your debts, write it down, make it visual, your budget, do Every Dollar, download the Every Dollar app. And so the more things that you can do just writing it down so it doesn't feel like you're just fumbling your way through, mentally, if you will, that you have a plan lined up. But it's hard right now. I mean, and I get it, especially if you're like in between jobs or you just got laid off. Like, there's a lot of factors right now with paying off debt. So I totally understand that. But yeah, I mean, the more consistent and intense you can be, the more things you can cut out of your lifestyle to throw cash at that debt, the better off you're going to be for sure. But you can do it. I promise. Millions of people have done it. Like, you can do it. And once you start going and you start paying off that first debt, and then the next one, it's kind of like the snowball effect, as we call it, the debt snowball. It's just like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So great. What a dream. Your baby sleeps till 7. Our little one barely sleeps. Oh, I'm sorry. Read Baby Wise if you feel like it during the quarantine. It's the only way all our babies slept, and I swear it's because of the schedule. So should be a Baby Wise advocate here. They should give me like a percentage of the books that sell. How much I talk about it. Okay, let's do one more question real quick. Advice on continuing to pay student loans during the COVID forbearance. Yes, so with all debt, there's a lot of sectors, industries that are giving grace periods, even for like utilities and bills, and also for debt, mortgages, all of the things. And so I would just stay current as possible during all of this. So the more current you can stay, the more normal it is, the better off you're going to be, because you're going to have to end up paying all of this eventually. So the more on top of it you can be, the better off you're going to be. So that's what I would say. Man, should I wait to pay my federal taxes until July 15th or pay them now? You could do whatever you wanted. I mean, if you had the money to pay them, you could. We're waiting, Winston and I, till July 15th. Just because I like having that extra cushion in the bank where I'm like, okay, it's just here. And we have the money, we have it set aside saying like, these are for our taxes, we're not going to touch it. But if I don't have to pay it till July 15th, why would I? So we're going to pay July 15th. All right, you guys, happy another quarantine day, 1095 or whatever, how long we've been here. But hope you guys have a great weekend. And for those of you who celebrate Easter, Good Friday's tomorrow. So it's kind of a totally different season, right, that we're in. It's almost like a weird reflection of like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good Friday, if you will. So different, but I'm kind of looking forward to it in a weird way. I think because the slowdown, I feel like I'm able to like reflect even spiritually a whole lot more than I have been in the past. So, and then all of you again celebrating Easter, happy Easter. I hope it's a great weekend for all of you out there. And again, stay healthy, wash your hands, all the things. Okay, see y'all soon.